Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here, early birds. I hope New York is treating you well, and especially for dragging your dead bodies to this panel of attorneys to hear how we will crush your dreams because of what you're doing. Probably not quite illegal, but very close to it, so we're going to let you know how to stay away from that very thin line. My name is Nicolle Lafosse. I'm your crypto attorney and moderator, but however, I don't think I'll be moderating. We're going to be a duo today. Here you have Danielle Weiss. Daniel, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Danielle Weiss. I'm an attorney and CPA and a partner with Falcon Rappaport and Berkman. Oh, we got another one on the stage. Hi. Welcome. I focus on emerging tech and blockchain technology. Based in Miami, we work with NFT projects, NFT platforms, DAOs, gaming companies, anything operating in the space, and really excited and happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Clark. I'm an attorney licensed in Florida and in New York, as well as federal court. I am the founder and lead attorney at D. Clark Law, which is a law firm that mainly focuses on Web3 clients and also NFT projects. And I, as well, am happy to be here.
So we would like to start this panel discussion with the very basics. What is it that you need when you're dealing with an NFT project? A lot of times you need to pay an attorney to tell you what you need, but because you guys are early birds, you're going to get this information for free, kind of, after paying for the conference ticket, of course. So one of the things that is very important, and I was discussing it with Danny before earlier, Danielle, is to have the contracts and agreements with the partners. For instance, one of them is to have partnership agreements in place with anyone else who's part of the project. And when you're dealing with artists, musicians, designers, graphic designers, make sure that you have a work for hire present and that the copyright of that art is absolutely transferred to you as a company owner or NFT project owner, so that that artist later in the game doesn't come back and bite your booty, saying that that copyright belongs to them, and then you get screwed because now you're a multi-billionaire project, and guess what? You still owe that art to someone else, and you didn't realize it until you became famous. Danielle, you want to jump in and chip in something about rights and
Sure.
Copyright?
Sure. Yeah, that was some great. It wasn't advice. It was some opinions.
We're just commenting.
Yeah.
Nothing is legal advice. If you find it useful, then apply it.
Yeah. So I like to, especially with like new projects, when they contact me to go over the legal issues, I like to start off with telling them that it's important to first form a business entity, and that can be an LLC, a corporation, there's partnerships. So each one has advantages, disadvantages. It depends on the set of facts. And that way you will be, your assets, like your house, the money that are in your personal name, it will be protected in the event that a lawsuit happens with this NFT project that you're launching. So I start off there, and then I go on to explain that once you have that entity formed, it's important to have ownership, shareholder, or member agreements that lists out, who owns what, how many members are there, is it 50-50 if there's two members, are they 50% owners, etc. And in the event that the NFT project is not successful, what are the procedures to terminate the entity, and taxes. There's all kind of things to include in these shareholder agreements or operating agreements, depending on the type of entity that you decide. And then from there, I also, like you said, to go ahead and advise that to make sure that you have company policies in place, meaning it doesn't matter if it's an independent contractor or a employee, just company policies like across the board for everyone, and that those include specific language that has to do with no insider trading and always act in the best interest of the company, etc. And again, that should be for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or just an independent contractor or a company that you're working with, such as like a smart contract that might, a company that drafts up smart contracts, etc. And yeah, and like you said, IP assignments. So these are all like internal documents within the company. Would you like to add?
Yeah, sure, to piggyback on that a little bit. So we see a lot of founders who are best friends or good friends, and they'll start a business together, and they'll have handshake deals, or they'll download forms off the internet, and they don't have the right terms in place. So it's really important to work with somebody who knows what they're doing to get the right terms in place, because things can and will go wrong. We've had a number of clients come to us on the back end of this, and it's so much more expensive to resolve it later on. So that's really important. And to piggyback on the copyright and just general IP assignment, that's super important. If you have somebody, develop some artwork for your project, and they don't assign you the IP rights to that artwork, you don't have ownership over it. You have a license to use it, even though you paid for it, which is somewhat BS, but it's really simple to resolve it. You just have to have the proper agreements in place.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm going to stand up because you all seem so awakened that aside from dragging your dead bodies to this panel to listen to boring attorneys, I want to ask for something else. I want you all to open your hands like this. Come on, go ahead. You too. All right. At the count of, I'm going to do a countdown. At the count of one, now keep them open, keep them open. The count of one, you're going to close them as hard as you can. 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Now we're a little bit more awake. So this panel, because you are so VIP, there's a few of you that will get this special information. That information comes this way. We're going to ask you all to ask questions to 3 attorneys where you will not receive advice. You will get free information for you to use on your project. So if any of you have a specific question that you need a crypto attorney, a Web3 attorney, blockchain IP attorney to answer, this is the moment. So does any of you have questions specifically for your project, interest, business, whatever, something that you don't want to pay someone else to answer? Go.
So if essentially all these NFT projects and Web3 are theoretically supposed to solve the gap between audience and the creators, however, majority of examples we've seen haven't done that. The audience are majority still consumers, and definitely legally they're consumers, but in some ways there should be some incentive really to, the way you give rights to the holders, there's incentives there for them. How do you bridge that gap better so all of your holders aren't always seen as consumers? Because legally, obviously, there's certain things like, technically you can't distribute, say, profits in some ways. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to go through some kind of legal set up or down or something, which is like loads of legal problems. How can you actually reward holders in a way that is legal and is more fair, and they're not seen predominantly as consumers?
Okay, so your question is, how can you give monetary rewards to the holders of your project, right? Yeah? Okay. So, right, you don't have, if you give monetary rewards, you need to have specific legal documents in place, meaning there needs to be a bargain for exchange, and that's a legal term, meaning you have to give something in return for something. So if you just give free money in the form of a token, that may become a security, because there's not an effort from the person who's receiving that for the money that they're receiving. So it becomes a security because it's looking a lot like the definition of the Howey test.
Is that how it's sold though? It's security sold as security, like you buy this, you get that. But if it's just down the line, oh, by the way, you get that.
Well, if you paid for something, then the reward being a monetary reward is probably not a security.
No, it wouldn't be considered a security the way like a typical PFP 10,000, image NFT project is released, that's not a security, or gray at least.
Yeah.
Well, so I would also just say that commercial rights are sort of what bridges the gap there. If you're able to make use of your NFT and put your own efforts behind it in order to monetize it, that's how you sort of bridge the gap there, I would say.
Which I guess that wouldn't be considered completely monetary. So if your question was strictly being rewarded in monetary ways, then she would have answered your question. But there are other ways that NFT projects reward purchasers or holders. But I would like to add that there's certain situations where NFT projects have amended or modified the terms and conditions, what they say that they're going to reward you with. For example, the Moonbirds, if anyone is familiar with that project, initially the purchasers of this NFT, the Moonbirds NFT, were rewarded or were provided with some sort of IP rights, whether that be commercial, exclusive, non-exclusive, and then later on, the terms and conditions were amended and the project became CC0, meaning anyone can use it, it's out in the open. So that is another issue that, Web3 and NFT projects are currently dealing with.
Sure, go. Sure.
The other would be on a mid pass. Like it seems like a mid pass could be considered like a gift certificate. Are there any terms or disclosures that you need to make, or any legal things that you need to address or have made public if you have a mid pass that it might be considered a gift certificate?
Sure. So to the first question, I tell my clients all the time that it's not as complicated as it looks, in the sense that the key question is, did you give something for something? Meaning, did the recipient of this token, of this NFT, of this reward, paid something to receive that utility, that benefit of being part of the community? When there is only a one-way exchange, meaning there's only the recipient receiving some sort of reward that can translate into a monetary reward, then that's likely to be a security. And of course, jumping if you think I'm maybe wrong or not. But I like to use that comparison because the secret is the government looks at, did you pay for what you received? And if you didn't, what made you invest? Because then it becomes an investment. It becomes, I bought this NFT because I was expecting something in reward that will double X, 10X, or whatever X the money that I paid up front. So that kind of falls into more the security area than not. To the second question, when it comes to minting and having rewards, there's gambling laws that are applicable, that are state laws, that may or may not be applicable for that specific situation, in the sense that if you're, I don't know, you're giving a car in exchange for the NFT that is most voted on the Discord channel. That may fall into gambling law. So you need to have that in place. Guys, please jump in. Let's do this. First question is about securities. Sure. Draw the line. And then the second one about minting and having a reward.
Sure. Yeah. So you mentioned, the exchange. Are you buying something in return for? So there are arguments to be made that if you're arguing that it's not a security, purchasing an NFT is not security, you can compare it to, what about buying a piece of art, like physical art, a painting? You're purchasing something of value, and physical art is not considered a security. So there's both sides to argue on that. And depending on if you're representing plaintiff or if you're this SEC, your opinion or your arguments will, differ. And then just to touch on your question about disclaimers, I definitely always tell my clients to include in the terms and conditions bold capital locks and try not to use legalese language. Try to make it really that they can understand that you may lose money. This is not an investment. This is not a security. This is not, by you purchasing this NFT, it's not guaranteed to 10x your money. All these clauses, and put them, there's different places that you can include these terms, not only on your terms and conditions, which raise your hand if when you look at an NFT project, you go ahead and click on their terms and conditions. So there's three people in here.
Do you actually read them?
Which is great, and if you're really investing in NFTs, you should be reading these terms and conditions to see like what IP rights am I getting? Does it say that these terms and conditions can be amended whatever they feel like it? And again, the clauses about securities and this is not an investment. You may lose money and all these things. So yeah, it's not fun to read these terms and conditions, which is another reason why it's not only important to retain an attorney if you're launching an NFT project, but also if you are going to purchase an NFT that's worth a lot of money, you might want to just go over the terms and conditions with an attorney.
Danny, let me just jump in real quick. Something very funny that we're all very familiarized with is emojis. The court has actually decided that using the emojis, the stock emoji plus the money bag, that is you promoting a security. So if you have what Danielle mentioned, the terms of services saying you acknowledge this is not a security, blah, 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 but then you made a tweet that the money bag, the emoji, hey guys, check out this project, you're gonna 10x. Guess what? The court has decided that is you promoting a security. Even though the terms of services say this is not a security and you acknowledge this is not a security. So watch out for that. Danny, jump in.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. The communications you have with your holders and the public at large is super important. So, if you have Discord moderators, you need to be aware of what they're saying and what they're promoting. If they're saying it's going to go to the moon or using emojis like that, that could come back to haunt you, which we've seen in the Top Shot case recently. And also a common thing for NFT projects is roadmaps. And you want to be really careful about what you put in roadmaps, because if you're promising that you're going to take future actions that are going to benefit the holders, that could push it into the territory of a security. And then the last thing we saw from Top Shot was that if you're operating your NFT project on a private blockchain, that could be enough to show that you have centralized control and to also make your project considered a security.
Nice. We got a question over here.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, just like you guys said, just by including in your terms and conditions, this is not a security, et cetera, that doesn't mean that certain actions may actually have it be a security. So that's not, that doesn't protect you 100%.
Absolutely. Behavior is key because the lack of regulation and clarity makes the behavior a law. So watch out with that.
I do have a separate question, but I want to get clarification on his question. What I thought he asked was, if I'm just giving away an NFT, and later there's maybe some kind of reward attached to it, it going up in value. You covered that as long as there's an exchange of goods or services to get an NFT, that's a transaction, and as long as you're not promising it's going to go to the moon with a rocket emoji or something like that. That way your contract has to really state it's not a security if there's a means of exchange, right? But if you're giving it away, how do you make sure that's not considered a security? Because I thought that's what you might have asked. Is that kind of what you're asking? If it's a free NFT, that has gone up in value.
Sure.
Is that there's no means of exchange? How is that not? Is that considered a security or not?
So it falls down to the behavior that you made before you offered that gift. Because it could be considered a gift as long as your behavior matches with the definition of a gift on the legal spectrum. So if you made this promotion and you, for instance, simple example, you made this promotion, but you used the emoji bag symbol plus the stock, and you said, enter this raffle, you're not gonna regret it, emoji stock, emoji money bag. That goes more towards the security versus check out this raffle, you're not gonna regret it. It's a gift. Or, I mean, it's a gift, but you're also into the gambling side a little bit.
Are you more so like talking about like airdrops?
Yeah, if it's an airdrop or yeah, something like that. Or if I have a large community and let's say we select 100 of them who are really producers of whatever in the community, then we give away these NFTs.
Right.
With no promise they're going to go up, but the community themselves starts hyping it up and it goes to the moon.
Right.
They're not representing us, like you said. There's a moderator. They're just doing their own thing. We gave it away, but it's gone to the moon, and now those whatever 10,000 NFTs are now on dexes or some kind of not a dex, but they're like on OpenSea and they're really going high.
My opinion is that it would be difficult to have that be considered a security. However, depending on the company that created these airdrops or these free NFTs that were given out, if that company starts to act in certain ways, or for example like tweet certain things, even though that they were given for free, then those actions may later on make the NFTs that were airdropped or that were free be considered a security. But if they were just airdropped and the company didn't really take much action or give other rewards or promises or this is going to the moon, my opinion is that it would be really difficult to be that considered a security.
Guys, we're on our last minute. Danny, you want to take it home, wrap it up?
Sure. So to that last point, I would just say if there's transaction fees involved, and royalties that go into it, that could skew the analysis a little bit. And also if it was part of an initial NFT project and you made promises that you were going to airdrop to certain holders NFTs, different NFTs, that could also skew the analysis for the initial NFT project as well. So it's really a case-by-case analysis for every individual situation. Typical lawyer answer to end it.
All right, guys, thank you for being here. If you have more questions, we'll be outside.